Hello there. Um, I want today to look at something we are calling legal due diligence as part of the broader components of due diligence. And what does legal due diligence entail? Basically, it's a legal component of any process of evaluating and investigating and verification. And I'll basically dwell around the process of buying a piece of land. And when you're buying a piece of land, the legal due diligence basically looks at critical components of the legality of the documentation, the ownership of the piece of land that you're buying. And what do we look at that point of doing the legal due diligence? The first level is to establish the ownership of the title. Basically trying to establish that the name that is in the title is the same name of the person who is selling the piece of land. Basically, you'll have asked the person to give you the ID copies, the carry pin certificate, and even in case it's a limited company, you'll have actually done a search at the registrar of companies, so that to establish who are the owners of this company, in case the titles bears the name of a company. Basically, that's the first level of doing a legal due diligence, basically evaluating the ownership of the title. Then the second one is establishing whether there are any encumbrances. And here I basically mean things that may limit the selling of that piece of land, or in case they limit, what do you do to make sure that they don't collapse the transaction? So these are things to do with the encumbrances, and here I'm talking about cautions. Maybe there was a dispute on that piece of land and a caution was put on it. There could be a charge on it. A charge may not necessarily limit the selling of the piece of land, because this may be a bank charge. So you basically, if you're buying a piece of land that has a charge, you basically now need to evaluate what we're calling financial due diligence, so that you know how much is on that charge. Then the other encumbrance that would be on that piece of land is by virtue of it being public land. So I've talked about digging deeper to establish the root of title, so that you establish whether this piece of land initially was it public, so that in case it was public, from the process of digging down the root of title, that's a place to avoid. Then the other aspect of legal due diligence that you look at is the approvals. Okay, and approvals here, basically I'm looking at if you're buying into developments that are master planned in nature, if you're buying a house, if you're buying an apartment, if you're buying an industrial park for your warehousing and all that, basically before that construction took place, the approvals must have taken place. Basically the building approval, the structural approval, NEMA, NCA, WARMA, all these manner of approvals must have taken place. So make sure that if you're buying an apartment, request the developer to send you what we call a due diligence folder. Okay, and what do you expect to find in a due diligence folder? The first level is the copy of the title, the IDs of the directors of people selling the apartment, may it be a company, the carry pin certificate, okay, to some extent actually the passport photos, and not forgetting that even when you're asking for the copy of the title, make sure you get all the pages, okay, whether they are 4 pages, 8 pages, request for all the pages. We are looking at georeferencing, okay. Basically these are getting the survey, make sure that the folder has a RIM, a registered registry index map, which is basically a map that is amended at Survey of Kenya. And then now the approvals, the architectural approvals, the structural approvals, civil approvals, NEMA license, NCA registration, okay, yeah. In case there's a borehole, is WARMA in place? All those manner of things must be in place, so that at least that folder will help you carry out legal due diligence to establish whether the approvals are in place. And lastly, if you're buying into a master planned gated community, basically that master plan must be in place, an approved master plan showing the use of that land that you're buying, So as you go out there to buy a piece of land, as you go out there to buy that apartment, kindly start with that simple process of legal due diligence. And this is something that you do at your desktop, whether through your surveyor, your legal team, your architect, even by yourself. These are things you're able to establish and carry down. So as you move out there to create wealth, don't forget to carry out what we are calling legal due diligence. See you there.